Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Don Jo number HDCC 2512 crash chain. Their part number for this is, there's no mystery to it, HDCC, heavy duty crash chain 2512, that's 25.5 inch length of chain, and that is common for your 3-foot wide doors. They can do a 20.5 version and probably a 30.5 version as well. 2.6 smaller doors, then of course your 3.6 and 4-foot doors as well. So this is the run-of-the-mill size, the common size I mean to say. Really nothing run-of-the-mill about Don Jo. They're an excellent company. The bases are made of solid brass, and they have they feature a 626 satin chrome finish. 626 means that it's solid brass, and it means that it's a brushed satin finish. Nylon, well, you know what? I don't know that this is nylon. It is a nylon cover. It says, pardon me, vinyl. It's not nylon. It's vinyl cover. A gray sewn vinyl cover. Somewhat smells like pool liner. Okay. The overall length of the item, I'll measure that on my desk. Indeed, 25.5. And is very common that you'll see on a commercial door. Crash chains are used to limit the door swing naturally, and they're generally used to limit the door swing when a potential for damage or danger or damage is or can occur. First, I don't believe crash chains are the best. They are, I know that they're not the best way to stop a door. Actual hardware intended for the purpose to take significant use and abuse would be better, namely an overhead door stop would be typical. Surface mount, concealed mount, medium duty, heavy duty. You'll see them on all doors that have significant use. The entrance to a mall, the entrance to a bus stadium, a bus terminal, a sports stadium. You'll always see those slide tracks up in the top that work in conjunction to limit the door from opening, is where you'll see those. You would never use a crash chain in an application like this, or like that, because it's simply not rated for the worst case scenario. Limiting the door from going too far would be limiting it from hitting perhaps the wall, or swinging so violently that it can come back around and destroy the door in the frame, or damage or shatter glass that might be installed. Worst of all, ripping out so far when the door gets open and then hitting someone is the bottom line. Crash chains, because of their method of anchoring, which are just sheet metal screws, are, in my opinion, I'm always amazed that they work even the first time in a severe test. Now, to add on to that, to help mitigate the potential for initial failure, there's a link below this video where you can order through bolts. Now, through bolts are a good idea because you will literally mount the door pad through the door with 4 sex bolts. Sometimes they're called binder posts, or just simply through bolts. That will help eliminate the possibility for an initial failure. If you're putting on a crash chain, the door has not been prepped for it. A crash chain inherently, as far as I'm concerned, is an afterthought. You realize after the installation, oh my gosh, that could have been bad, sort of scenario. And so people will add a crash chain. Not often in a new installation, although some people do put them on and through bolt them, and knowing that there's the potential for a quite occasional instance. So if you through bolt the door portion, then up in the header, the screws are going to be being worked laterally like this, so they're not being tested with their screw withdrawal strength. It's more of the thickness of the material, so that you do have a fighting chance of that frame portion staying in. And I never see that one rip out, but I do see that other one rip out. I had a client who basically wanted to pursue legally the business that had this installed. The door was opened, the wind grabbed it, the door portion came out, and then the door is flung open. That door, the door, it's anchored up at the header, came around and hit her right in the face. True story, and it's a reason to just use as an example why other hardware is better suited maybe not an overhead door stop. What would be, in my opinion, better would be to have a door closer modified or installed that has a dead stop arm on it, or a cushion stop arm, because that hardware is more robust than sheet metal screws. The door reinforcing can be ordered and most likely is already prepped to receive a door closer, so you've got a better chance of having reinforcements in both the door and the frame. Anyway, having said all those negatives about crash chains, they are a godsend because there are lots of instances where they can and will work, and there's really no other realistic option, so people will gravitate towards these. Plus, they're easy to install and inexpensive. So if you're dealing with a 3-foot door, you've got 25.5-inch chain, you're in the right place. You're going to want to deal with, generally, about, let's say, 8 inches over from the door edge or 12 inches over from the door edge, and about the same for the header. There is a link below this video to a document called Template, but it doesn't give you any important dimensions in terms of how to locate it. They're telling you the size of the pad, 1.5 by 1.5, the length of the spring, which we'll get to in a moment. So what you'll want to do is place it, say about 8 inches over from the hinge side, and then over on the header, which would be the stop of the frame. Test your operation. Have someone open it and hold the chain and position it such that you're going to achieve the proper dead stop, degree of dead stop. Keep in mind those springs will flex out ever so slightly. You also want to make sure that there's no conflict of the chain hanging down in a door closer, so you want to be very sure of that as well. But those would be the dimensions where I would start with that. You can obviously kick it all over and achieve a greater degree, or you can move it out further and limit that door based on where you locate it. An overhead stop or a door closer fitted with the proper arm or a crash chain is also very helpful at helping prevent damage and danger. But also, something that's terrible as well, if you get a door that is ripped open, and let's say it's a 5 3/4 jam depth in an 8-inch wall or cement block with face brick. When that door gets open and gets open past about 100 degrees, the heel side of the door is going to make contact with the outside sharp corner of the brick. What happens at that point, if the door continues to go, it's a lever at that point, and I've seen it where it will force the jam out and away and corrupt and break down and cause a failure of the anchoring method of the frame down to the wall. So limiting the door is crucial for those initial reasons, but also because if you've got a frame that's been partially pulled off the wall, you have a situation that's very difficult to mitigate with getting that frame properly put down. And if it's been grout filled, there's really there's no reasonable way to fix that other than just making the best of it. So anyway, now back to the installation. You're going to test your points of installation. You're going to do a reality check on it. I'm going to pull the vinyl back so you can see the chain. And there's one of these springs on both sides. Okay. You can change the length of the spring should you want to. You can, and I'm not going to really demonstrate it very much here. You could take this portion and push that in and get these two tangs down and pinched in, and then you can force them back up through the spring and do the same to the other side if you wanted to completely disassemble it. You could, so if you wanted to pinch that off on a different link. Let's say you literally wanted to change the length of that. You could get those two retaining clips down through the chain, through the coil, I should say, and allow yourself to be able to modify that. You're going to fight with it for 5 minutes, but it's a way to do it. Not that you would have to on a 25.5, because you probably have a normal or a common size 3-foot door. But if you had the 30.5-inch size and it turns out that that's way too long because it hangs down too far in the opening for normal use, you might need to modify it. That would be based on where you've installed it. Okay, now finally, we're getting close to the end here. There is a link below this video as well to the product brochure, which shows you the heavy-duty crash chains, the 3 sizes total that they offer. You can see how the part number changes as the length changes. Then you're going to get into your overhead stops, the right items to use. That surface stop is super duper to use. You're going to want to get the template of that before you order it to make sure that it's not going to be in conflict with existing hardware like a door closer. But those are better methods to go about saving the door from damage. Okay. Now, finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Don Jo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's full line catalog, and then a link to their website as well. But above there are links to the subsections of the catalog. Now, the name Don Jo is really not as synonymous with trim and auxiliary hardware as they are with their door reinforcing U-shaped wraparound plates and their latch protectors. If you know Don Jo, you probably know them for those reasons. But when you look at all those other sections, strike plates, and they do a fantastic job, a comprehensive job of extended lip strikes. You're going to see door stops and door closers and pivots and ladder pulls and hinges, kick plates. They do a great job with all of that. Don Jo has a relatively petite footprint in that realm, but within that realm, they are a massive player. I'm partial to Don Jo, and it's because they deserve it. They deserve it because they have prompt, reliable shipping lead times. There's a few people over there, especially one, who absolutely will attempt to be gymnastic for us when something needs to move, and they're good customer service people as well. If there is a mistake, and it does certainly happen occasionally, they mitigate it immediately. They take care of it, and it's just good. It does occasionally happen, I suppose, in every instance. But the point of the matter is they make it right. If you have any questions on the Don Jo HDCC-2512 25.5-inch crash chain or any other Don Jo product, please feel free to reach out to us.